Hello, guys, and welcome back to Mind Over Mainstream. Tonight, we're going to be talking about basically the use of the law for the authorities to abuse their power. And is it going on just in the UK or is it going on all over the world? So tonight with me, I've got Richard Flopper,
Hey guys, good evening.
Nigel Legend,
Hello, people. Nice to see you again.
and a very special guest this evening, Rbrt, Real Talk. How are you, buddy?
Hello guys, how you doing? Yeah, good. Thank you for having me.
No
Very,
problem.
Pleasure to
very
be here.
welcome.
Pleasure to
So,
have you.
would you like to tell our viewers where they can find your content and what your channel info is?
Oh, I'm pretty much everywhere. Main channel TikTok. I'm on YouTube. I am on Rumble, though I'm having some issues with that at the moment. But I'm hoping you guys can help me out later on behind the
Mhm.
scenes. But yeah, I'm virtually everywhere. Facebook, yeah, everywhere. So Real Brit, Real Talk. You can find me pretty much anywhere.
There's some interesting debates on TikTok as well. There's
Oh, I love my lives.
some fiery live chats. I've been in there a couple of times.
Yeah, I've been in a couple.
Then I've got you heated, don't you? And get called
Uh,
racist and far right for just having an opinion anywhere these days. So, but TikTok's definitely one of the worst places for it. So
Par for the tools,
obviously
isn't it, nowadays?
at the moment there's a lot going wrong in the UK, and that's called for a lot of people to take it upon themselves to start a lot of patriot groups up and down the
Yeah,
country.
yeah.
So you've got the Great British Gardens, you've got the Crumpet Babies, you've got all kinds of them. There's even factions of the EDL that are
Big
starting to
up
reconnect with
Crumpet.
each other. Yeah, we
Youth
love a bit of Crumpet
Alliance.
as well.
Big up
Um,
Crumpet, man.
and it seems to be that there's a growing movement now of British people that are just fed up with the shit going on across the country. One of the most influential figures behind these sort of movements that seems to converge all of them into one because they'll all meet up under the same cause is Tommy Robinson. And a bit of an update for those of you that don't know that Tommy was over in Canada making a guest appearance and a speech, and was abruptly arrested as he walked out by Canadian police, apparently on a warrant. I don't know what he's done in Canada before that he's got a warrant out for his arrest for. Conveniently, he's not allowed to leave the country now. He's had to hand his passport in, and he has to report for bail every Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday till further notice when he's due to be back in the country in just over a month for this possibly the biggest rally that has ever been
Yeah.
created for the British people by the British people in this country. So
For our
Ironically,
generation, definitely, isn't it? For our
yeah,
generation, like
yeah.
we've
yeah,
never seen this movement before.
Ironically, he was arrested on immigration charges, of all things, considering how he's one of the people with a louder voice against how our atrocious immigration policies in the UK, and all of a sudden he goes over there, and ironically, he's arrested on some trumped up
yeah.
immigration stuff.
I think we can
Yeah.
take
Sounds
the
like
charges
Julius
with
Assange all over again.
yeah. I think we
Yeah,
can take these charges
exactly.
with a pinch of salt, can't we? Do you know what I mean? It's obviously
Yeah,
done on purpose.
it's a
It's
tactic to try and silence the far right or far right opinionated and stuff. And as we've been saying, like with the advent of a lot of these groups, the patriotic groups in the UK, we're now calling people that hate us Anglophobic. And I think poor Tommy is stood it on his shoulders for years now. And I think the more people like us who rise up, because we're all part of a patriotic group, Mind Over Mainstream is a patriotic group, and Britain, Real Brit, Real Talk is a patriotic group. I think it's gonna start coming down on our shoulders too eventually. What do you think about that, Real Brit, Real Talk?
Well, it already has for me. I'm serving a ban now, so every live I go on now, I have to watch my chat like a hawk. So,
Yeah.
for instance, we were like an hour into a really good debate. Everyone was really polite. Then all of a sudden, my chat starts getting spammed the N word,
Yeah,
like literally over and over and over and over again. And it was like a computer system just kicked in. They were
yeah,
coming that fast and thick, and like, yeah, it was about 10 of them. So I know our channels are getting attacked. I get threatened every time I announce that I'm going to a march. I wake up to death threats from deleted accounts,
yeah,
you know, but they're cowards at the end of the day. People that don't stand up for anything. I'm
yeah,
willing to stand up, no masks, live on TikTok, not hiding behind any.
Show your face, show
Yeah,
your
show
name.
my face, not hiding, and I'll give my
yeah.
opinion. If I'm right,
Yeah.
I'm right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm big enough and ugly enough to accept a challenge. You know, if someone puts my thought path on a different course, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's got a point. I'm big enough to, you know, figure that out for myself. I don't need the haters, you know.
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah, and it's all this stupid red tape that we've all got to jump through now just to be able to put our own opinion out. We're not even allowed to say anything now as we want to say it, you know. I'm not the sort of person to sugarcoat things, so I've had about fucking 400,000 accounts taken down on TikTok, and I'm still going strong. I seem to get somewhere between 5 and 10,000 followers, and then when they start going, oh, he's getting too much exposure now, they'll just can my account. You know, so we're all up against it. Obviously, this is why we wanted to do our podcast, because we're on so many platforms. If one of them take it down, well, they've got to convince another 20 odd companies to take our podcast down at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I think the way we do things as well, I think we try and come across as non-biased, even though people would call us a far right movement. We give everything a crack. You know. And like as for me, I'm lucky. I have my main name. My real that was taken a couple of years ago, and that was really, really popular. But since then, I've just stayed with what I am, and that's why I'm Richard Flopper. And I nurse that account on TikTok. I have to, because I don't like having backup accounts and having, you know, have to do all that. You know, I cover my ass when I post something, and I know, like, with a content that we all three of us posted yesterday was quite edgy, but I thought, you know what, day before yesterday, I'll cover my ass and I'll say it in a really polite way, enough love and respect. You know what, the video's flown up, but what
that is
people were going to think of
Reform
it,
UK. They didn't let mine go out in front of more than 600 people. I don't
what
think they
people
would
were going to think of me
I haven't
is up
even
to
got
them.
that either. I've had about 80 likes on it. Drew's shot up over 200 likes on yours, isn't it?
Yeah, I do find if you put the same kind of video out within the same hour, that they kind of know. I don't know if it's just they know the algorithm of the video or whatever it is, but they seem to figure it out.
We've all tagged each other in it as well, and I mean we've had this sort of whether we should be tagging Mind Over Mainstream or tagging even each other. Maybe we should just totally disassociate ourselves on that platform alone.
But it's important that us groups, like, this is the whole reason I'm here, and that's the whole reason you'll come on my podcast, because my audience isn't necessarily your audience. Your audience isn't necessarily my audience. So the more we interact with each other, the bigger we all grow. Then our message starts to get out there.
But we all are patriots
in the dark.
Yeah, we've all got that in common. We're all patriots and we love our country. And I mean, I'm assuming all four of us here had grandparents that fought in World War II for our freedom.
Yeah.
So that's what we've got in common, and that's what we believe in. But people want to call us far right and racist. No, I should be able to raise my flag because my grandfather fought for that right.
So there's an easy argument to that, isn't there? I get it on my live all the time. And I say, okay, if this was just based in Britain, I could say Britain's got a problem. But let's look at France, Germany, Sweden, Holland. You know, this thing is across Europe. This isn't just us being far right and one country just taking a stand. This is across Europe. Europe is sick of this.
It's a global phenomenon. It really is a global
America
phenomenon.
As well now, you know?
Yeah, America is
heard about the
everywhere.
The two people that got arrested in America yesterday. Well, 8 people, got arrested in America yesterday. Were set to do an attack on America. Had it all planned out. Only got into the country 2 weeks ago from the Mexican border.
It's unbelievable.
It's happening everywhere, isn't it? And it's there's obviously people think it's not controlled, but it is exactly that. It is controlled. It's controlled by someone somewhere is funding this. They're making sure that there's these £1,000 boats on the beach every single fucking day without fail.
And as we've said before on our very podcast, it is not Albanian drug gangs.
No.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, we have said it before.
Phenomenon.
These are not dinghies. These are landing craft. You know what I mean? You know, these are works of art. I mean, you could take 20 of your mates on that, have a great day fishing, sleep on the bastard, and you'd still be afloat, even in rough weather. These are not dinghies. They are.
No, these are 40-man boats with 80 men on them.
Yeah, they're landing craft.
I say men because they are full of fucking men. You maybe get
Yeah.
2 or 3 immigrants a day out of the 700-800 a day that are coming over here. Are
Well,
going to
there's
be
always that one that can't leave his missus behind.
Well, look at it
well,
like this. When it
no.
comes to the
There's
boats,
always
look at
them 1 or 2 genuine asylum seekers that will
Yeah,
do
I'm
everything and anything to get here.
taking my family.
And then you've got the rest of them, which are being given mobile phones and fucking
Yeah.
brand new Nike trainers, and we're expected to believe that they're coming here for asylum. Fuck off.
the ISIS fighters, the remainder of ISIS, that's what
If
they
your
are.
country's getting
So
bombed, you bring your family home over with you, don't
Yeah.
you? Do you know what I mean? So,
But I mean,
just
put
really
it this
quickly
way.
before. Go
Go
on.
on. No. I mean, with these boats, right? Before we move on from the boats, because I know we need to, but with these boats, yeah, 80 minimum. Okay, take 40 of them off now, arm all 40 that are left, and then send it over. Right? The Germans couldn't even do that in World War II. Now
No.
all of a sudden there's a 12-mile mark, and then once the French Navy have escorted them out to that 12-mile mark, it then becomes our Coast Guard's problem to rescue them, and we're doing it.
and where's
Well-
our Coast Guard? We're oh,
Well,
makes
I
you
mean,
wonder
I
who's
just-
running the Coast Guard.
I just want to
I've
big
just
up another
spoken to my
patriot as well,
friend.
actually. There's a guy on YouTube called Active Patriot. I think his channel's called Mission Impossible. Nobby, his name is. I met him a while back at the St George's Day rallies.
Yeah.
He goes out into the channel and films stuff like that. The films the crossings from in the channel. He gets their perspective, and he follows a lot of the boat activity. The other day, we were being told that there was an emergency happening in international waters. It was less than a mile off the coast of Dieppe, right? And 4 British Coast Guards were over in French waters rescuing these people, bringing them back to the UK while they were doing the War Memorial celebrations on D-Day.
We've given them
That's a
3
fucking
billion
scam.
quid. We've given them 3 billion fucking pounds of British taxpayers' money. Yeah. For what?
You got to ask yourself who's still donating. Anyone who's you know when you say go woke, go broke. But years ago, this was our phrase. You know,
Yeah.
us so-called far right now. It was like we're woke. We know what's going on. We can see. So then the lefties took that, adopted that for themselves. And there's a lot of lefties saying, "Oi, that's far right thinking." What the lefties are thinking. I'm like, hold on, like, which is why I felt compelled to make that video the other day about what they did with the reform flag. I'm like, you're trying to steal all our shit. We can't even be far right anymore. Or
Someone put a
racist.
comment
Not that
on
we are.
Someone put a comment on one of my posts today. Sir Keir Starmer's not a left-wing politician. I said, Sir Keir Starmer, the reason that Jimmy Savile never saw the inside of a courtroom. Sir Keir
Left-wing.
Starmer,
Jimmy Savile's
the person who got the benefits for the illegal migrants that are coming here illegally is not
Left-wing.
far left. I'm sorry, I've got to disagree with you there, mate. I just left
It's
it
like
at that.
that. It's
Stop
like
the
Hamza.
grooming gangs from getting deported
Yeah,
so they
it's
could
like
commit more crime.
yeah.
It,
It's
it
like
couldn't
Hamza.
be more left.
Well, if they're criminals and they can't work, the taxpayers go and pay the fee, and the government still get their fucking money at the end of the day.
So-
don't
And then they come on TikTok and thank us taxpayers.
Yeah.
So before
for paying
we
their
move
they
on to
do.
the second segment, I want to really
Yep.
quickly mention Julian Assange because
Yep.
he's been in Belmarsh prison for the best part of 6 years now, as a
Freedom,
journalist who
freedom.
basically told the truth. And on Monday he was released finally from jail. On bail, of course. He was charged
Yeah.
with 1 count of espionage and had 18 counts of espionage dropped.
Yeah.
And for that he was
5-year
given a
sentence that he
62
already
month
served,
a 62-month prison sentence, which is already time served in
and
Belmarsh.
now he's in
Um,
Australia.
And he landed back at home in Australia in Canberra about 10:30, 11 o'clock this morning. So he's home safe now, and has the right to fight any extradition.
I don't know about
court.
safe, Jordan.
Yeah, I mean,
I wouldn't say safe.
Well, to be fair, he's caught 3 fucking planes out of Europe, being one of the most wanted men in America. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
He's landed in Australia. He's pretty
Well,
fucking
Honestly,
safe.
I swear to God, I was waiting to wake up to the news that something's gone wrong with a plane and he ain't here no more.
Yeah,
I was
tracking
waiting
one.
for that. I was waiting for that.
I was tracking it all night. Fucking hell, poor guy. So Tommy Robinson's revolution. He's been campaigning against Islam, the Islamic takeover. I'm going to call it how it is because that's exactly what it is. It's all over the Western world, especially in Europe and UK right now. It's an Islamic takeover. We're having people being imported and ferried over from the most horrible, extreme third world countries that aren't at war, so they're not asylum seekers, but they're being ferried over here because they are part of a society that will team up in their hundreds like a rebel army,
Or
go
thousands.
around, ransack a village, rape and pillage everything they can, recruit the young men, kill anyone else, and move on to the next village. These are the people that we're importing into the country now. So he's speaking up against that. He's also speaking up against two-tier policing, and a few other things as well. But more recently, he's been just a journalist, just exposing things for
Trying to keep
telling
his
the
nose
truth.
clean.
Exactly, telling the truth. So much like Julian Assange, he's now being subjugated in Canada. When all he's done really recently is tell the truth.
I'll tell you what gets me though, Jordan, more than anything, right? Well, everyone goes on about Tommy Robinson now being a bad guy, but have you seen the other side of the coin? That Mohammed Hajibi.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but that guy,
Mohammed
Habibidi
Hajib, Mohammed Hajib.
Yeah, he calls for violence. He virtually calls for it on our line over and over again. But yet he's allowed a platform. He's allowed every media outlet there is. You know what I mean? But he's a lot more dangerous than what Tommy has ever been, man.
Fact.
Well,
fact.
that is the thing. Tommy is dangerous.
He's the next Hamza Hook geezer, isn't he?
This
Mohammed Hijab, he's the next Hook. You know,
he's
the one with the
dangerous,
one
that
eye.
guy, man.
Oh, of course he is. He's the next generation of that lot.
But I'm not defending.
Yeah, extremists. Yeah,
I'm not defending these extremists, right? These jihad calling motherfuckers and stuff like that. But Tommy is equally as dangerous for the free speaking people, for freeing the nation of the slavery that we're sold into through our government, and what we must put up with from whatever they provide, whatever they throw into our towns and cities. Tommy Robinson is equally as dangerous. And we all know they've got no control over anyone who's not British or born here and stuff like that. So what they do? We got to get the votes. Fuck Tommy is wrong. Even though in their heart of hearts, they probably know that what they're doing is wrong. Some people are just filled with greed. And I think that is what has made Tommy Robinson the enemy to all the governments. Well, now we're seeing around the world, is because he's a friend of the people.
He's another Tupac and Biggie, isn't he? Look at it like that, yeah. Tupac
he's
and
more
Biggie,
Robin Hood.
Yeah, not being funny. What it is, right? Tupac and Biggie, right? I believe, and I honestly, and Diddy was involved, right? And we all know that, yeah, right? Changing the subject a bit, but at the end of the day, right? They had more influence over the population than any politician ever did at the time.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you now, somebody somewhere who was high up in the game, right, turned around and said, these fuckers have got to go. We can't be having these brown-faced people, having more influence over the world than the good old US of A government. And they was taken out.
Typical.
Tommy Robinson is a modern day one of them.
I was going to say typical British modern day policy. They're too pussy to even take the geezer out. They'll just make his life a misery. Well, hoping he'll quit.
Well, St. Thomas, I lived near Canterbury Cathedral, and St. Thomas, who was more popular than the king at the time, was beheaded for that exact reason. He was more popular than the king. And
so they killed him.
Someone that the people are listening to, that the people are rallying behind, you've got to take him out, man, because one spark can destroy a forest that has been growing for 100 years. And
JFK was the same. The same thing happened with JFK, mate. JFK, the geezer, was rooting for peace. He was rooting for peace amongst humanity, man. And as soon as that guy as soon as anybody starts rooting for peace amongst humanity, they die.
Well, look at Trump now. I mean, he's the first American president in 70-odd years to not have a war during his tenure as a president.
To not create one.
And they fucking after his blood. They're after his blood so hard, the man can't even fucking breathe for court cases being thrown at him.
Well, that's the thing.
It's going to happen for Nigel Farage as well. He's already been attacked twice. He ain't allowed to debate because his party's too small. I'm telling you now, if it was down to TikTok, Reform have got this in the bag. This
100%. 100%. Even the Americans and the Canadians that follow us and stuff like that are rooting for Reform in the UK.
It's not just TikTok either, guys. I mean, I've spent a lot of time on X the last few days.
Yeah,
and
X have got a big base.
The X
need
have
to get on
responded.
X.
X have responded to the mainstream media trying to claim that it was algorithm and bots and AI.
Yeah.
So the people on Twitter now, if they're pro reform and they're voting for reform, they're posting a fucking selfie, their name, what area they live in, and that they're voting for reform. And I'll tell you what, mate. Yesterday, I think I was showing my missus. I was scrolling through my phone. Out of every 10 posts, 8 of them were people with selfies saying, "I'm voting for reform this year, and
Yeah.
I'm not a bot." It's like a new
X.
trend.
Keep a look on X because the thing
Yeah.
is, there's a bigger fucking following or and voter base than people realise. But someone needs to vote to get behind. And this is the first time, in fucking the last 50 or 60 years that the actual people feel that we've got it's changeable. It's so there I can almost touch it. I want to be part of it. It's so there. It's the
There's
first time
hope.
in 50 years. Yeah. It's the first time in 50 fucking years,
And the
mate.
thing is, you get a lot of naysayers, you get a lot of steadfast Labour and Conservative fucking voters, which God knows why. I mean, I haven't got a fucking clue what in the last 50 years either one of them have done to make you want to
Idiots.
vote for them again. But
Idiots.
they'll go, oh, it's just a fad, it's just a passing phase. Reform have got fucking no chance, blah blah blah. But the thing is, they're like mongoloids walking through life thinking reform have got to get 49% of the vote to get into the fucking house or 51% of the vote. They don't. They're at 26% in the opinion polls and Labour at 35%. That's a 9% swing. And I'll tell you what,
How many parties take part in the vote?
all we've got to see is a bunch more shit about how Keir Starmer's a flip-flopping twat for the next 5 days, and that could well change to
Have you heard that
a
Keir Starmer's doing
31%
away with it?
majority.
Oh, mate, Keir Starmer's going to kill his own thing before he even gets into power. He's doing himself no favours.
Someone's asked to get rid of the church, haven't they? Someone's asked to get rid of the church out of politics.
Yeah, it's passed through the House of Lords, and now
So,
it's
yeah,
waiting
not
for
about-
Parliament to put it through.
Real Brit, real talk.
The first thing Keir Starmer's going to do when he gets in there is push that all the way through. And then that leaves the next religion that comes to power.
Who's
They
that
can
going to
then
be?
take control. Well, we all know who that's going to be, don't we? Why do you think? So obviously, this is why I said to you guys, I would like to revisit that because at the end of the day, I think it's a very bad idea for religion totally to get out of politics, especially in a country of the religious or origin, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
I think if you say no religion permanently ever again and end it there, so that Sadiq Khan can't take over from Keir Starmer once he's wiped the blood off his hands from the knife he's just put in his back, and then stepped into the Prime Minister job. Once
when he
he's
had
finished
alive
doing
himself,
that,
when he had alive himself,
you don't want him to then turn around and say, "Well, actually, I'm going to change the law again and instate Sharia as the governing body in this country." We don't want that.
So, for you viewers at home, watching or listening along, we hope you do watch and we hope you do listen. And we're not just begging for views, but I think you'll always we're the hosts of the show, and we always find. Sorry for this brief interjection, guys. We always find that we watch our shows, but we also listen to them as well. And sometimes we watch them more than once. Sometimes we listen to them more than once. Now we create them, yeah, but you always find that there's more information to unpack. There's stuff that is so fast paced that you miss. So, for all you guys that are listening and watching, we just want to let you know that over the election, 4th of July, we're going to be doing as many lives as we can. We're going to do as much content as we can to bring you live and direct results and things that we'll all be on computers googling and finding out as much as we can.
We're also going to invade the Real Brit Real Talk podcast as well, aren't we?
We are. We're gonna be watching him like a hawk.
You're welcome, guys. Like I say, all of us. Like, I'm trying to get Danny Roscoe down in the studio at the moment.
Yeah.
It's hard because I met Jordan a while ago, and I'd love to get Jordan down, but we live the other side of the country, and we're all working men.
That is the problem. We're all so far away from each other.
Well, I'm working on that,
Everybody is.
and I did mention to the lads about your idea for the studio above the restaurant or bar or whatever, the little private space that we could.
I'd love that.
Where would that be though?
In Dover.
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 So we're just fucking all train it down there. Fucking why not? Make a weekend of it. Do a few podcasts for Real Brit, a few podcasts for Mind the Mainstream, and
for you, Nigel, it's a fast train all the way there.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
It'd be good. Anyway,
if it happens.
Work out.
For me,
Let's-
I'm all the way down the west of the country.
Right, I've got to get us back on topic, guys, because
Yep,
we've had
go
about
on.
5 minutes of chunnering. It's nothing to do with the episode. So bringing it back to Tommy and Julian, they're two
Yes.
figures that obviously we can steadfastly say are doing their absolute best for what they believe in.
Yeah.
How many
And
other
getting
people out
fucked
there
over.
are fighting a good fight? You've got Andrew Bridgen that was talking about the excess deaths since the vaccines. But obviously there's
He
no
got fucked
parliament
over the
now.
other day.
I see there's no
Uh,
parliament now, so he can't do Penny Mordaunt's head in every fucking Monday morning anymore, or Monday
You've
afternoon,
got
or whatever it is.
Sam Melia being looked after.
Well, he's in jail, so they've dealt with him.
Being looked after by Her Majesty's pleasure.
Yeah.
Just for the inconvenience of putting a couple of stickers up.
So it feels like it's
Hey,
only a matter of time
fault
before they start
crimes,
coming for the
episode 1.
social media influencers like
Oh,
ourselves.
they already
you know?
are.
Yeah.
How many accounts you had?
No, but I mean, more in terms of coming to get us rather than the censorship. I mean, how long is it going to be before we end up?
I certainly hope that don't happen, because otherwise someone's going to get something buried deep in their head when they walk through my bedroom door.
Might want to tone that one down a little bit.
Yeah,
No,
I
that's
think we'll
just straight up
I
fact.
think
You
we'll
ain't
clip that
For the
coming
one
show,
out,
fucking
for the
though.
take
show,
me from
for the
my
show,
house.
for the show, we don't talk like that. Come on.
Yeah.
I ain't done nothing wrong. I'm a fucking free Englishman as far as I'm concerned. English flag. I'm an Englishman. I'm fucking free. This is my country, yeah?
Someone give him a broadsword.
No cunt's coming to my house to take me. This is my castle. I'm a free Englishman. And you know why? My fucking granddad, yeah, fought in World War II. And the last time I checked, we won the fucking war.
We
Yeah.
did.
Well,
You ain't
some say
coming
we're
to
still
take me
fighting
from
it,
my
bud.
house for fucking still having a little bit of love for my country. Fuck that.
So I mean,
Some
that takes
say
us
never
nicely
ended.
into segment 3, where we talk about the importance of protecting free speech, free press,
Yeah.
freedom to protest, and things like that. I mean, it's absolutely imperative at this moment in time that we do absolutely everything we can to protect our rights to speak up, our rights to protest, our rights to say something about something if it's wrong, because the more that government sort of surround our rights in red tape and legislation and fucking acts to protect themselves, the less chance we've got of actually being able to get anywhere by trying to call them into touch for their actions, you know.
But Jordan, don't you think this is where like the sheer defiance has got to come into it? You know, like
yeah.
we keep I
Absolute
get this a lot in my life,
disobedience.
but what about this legislation and what about that legislation? Well, it doesn't matter. It's a bit of paper that these guys made up. It means nothing
Exactly that.
unless you give it value in your head.
Yeah.
I don't give it
Statutes.
value. It means nothing to me.
The statutes and acts that they tie us up in a court of law in this country is got absolutely fuck all to do with common law and more to do with how
Yeah,
much they
control.
can get out
More
of your shit.
importantly, they've got fuck all
Yeah.
to do with protecting the people or making life better for the people, and everything to do with protecting the establishment and fucking the people.
Yeah.
You know,
Exactly
this seems
that.
to be the only acts and legislations that I remember in making in the last
Absolute
20
disobedience
years
is what's needed.
have just been a shit show. You know, we've lost more and more of our rights over the last 4 years than we had probably in the 400 before that. And we forgot
So-
about Magna Carta for the 400 years before that. So we're
Yeah.
fucking really not doing ourselves a justice, are we? Do you know?
So,
No.
Andy, in your experiences being sort of like a lone ranger who started out your channel and what you do alone and said, you know what, I've got a voice, I'm going to use it to the best of my ability. What challenges have you faced in all the time that you've been doing it?
Look, I've never come on my channel to say like I'm the most educated person or anything like that. For me, that it's all in the name. Real Brits, real talk. So for me, when I was getting tired of going to work, talking to people, and them looking at me like I was batshit crazy. Like,
Yeah.
what are you going on about, Andy?
Mm.
Like, and none of them had a clue. So then questions started going around in my head. Well, how many people are like this in the world, you know? And I
Yeah.
suppose social media became an option for me. I can actually go out there and ask. And the first of all, I was like everyone else. I just put posts up and read the comments and that. But you never really get anyone's opinion from the comments. You just
Yeah.
get either trolls or
Yeah.
a thumbs up. Oh, yeah, I agree with that. So then,
Yeah.
I started doing the live thing a lot more. And then, I suppose for me, like, it's been an eye-opener. Like, I
Yeah.
never experienced racism at
Yeah.
all in 46 years until I got on social media. And then I'm
Snap.
doing a
I've got
live.
to say, snap.
Yeah, I was doing a live on the 1st of June, and for 45 minutes I got called a gammon 1,300 and something odd
You know
times.
what I mean? Yeah,
That's
I've
Yeah.
had it a
amazing.
lot.
40
Amazing.
minutes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's
It's
amazing
So
what you see
can-
when you go online and your mind expands to what's available, and you see so much more of, oh, these people hate me just because of the way I look, and it
Yeah.
does in a way it does affect your mind and go, oh wow, there are actually people out there that think like that. I better be a little more careful.
so
I've
Andy,
complained to TikTok as well about that being called a gammon. I said it's a racist term, and they just
Yeah.
fucking they refused my.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's
absolutely.
like, oh yeah, okay, all right then. But I talk about bacon on a fucking Islam post, and I get canned for that.
Oh, gone. So
don't mention gammon there.
would you
Yeah.
say, Andy, that you've got a lot of silent support in the sense that people will like your posts, they'll share them, but they'll do it anonymously and silently without actually giving their opinion or voice? Do you think that there needs to be more people like us who put our head above the parapet and say, yes, I agree, and I'll put my name behind it, my reputation behind it?
Yeah, so like in a way, I kind of feel bad sometimes when I do it, but like I'll have 5-hour lives, yeah, and I'll
Yeah.
have multiple people coming through, and at the end of it, like we talk about all the subjects, immigration, racism, blah blah blah, and then I'll say at the end, right? So how many of you, 300 people in my chat right now, how many of you are going to be there on the 27th of July? Because it's the next one, yeah.
Yeah.
You watch them numbers drop.
Yeah, they
You
will
watch
leave.
them leave because they don't want to answer that question. And the
Everyone's-
panel, everyone's busy on the panel. Everyone's got something to do that day, but they've got plenty to say on my channel. They're not
Yeah.
happy,
Yeah.
but they're not willing to get up off their asses. And then I
Yeah.
say to them, well, no disrespect, but you have kind of lost my respect because
Yeah.
if you're going to sit here for 5 hours on my channel saying that everything's wrong, but you're not
Yeah.
willing to get up and put your feet on the ground, then what
Yeah.
are you? You're
Too
a
many
paper cup.
people are
You're
too
not. What are you?
comfortable.
Yeah.
Too
Yeah.
many people are too comfortable.
And everyone seems to be waiting for that one person to step forward and go, right, guys, come and follow me. Let's go and sort this fucking mess out. And the thing is, as much as he's got a following, it's not Tommy Robinson. And as
No.
much as he's got people going mad and fucking loving what he's saying on stages, still don't think it's Nigel Farage. And even though Andrew Bridgen's been up there and trying to defend people with his excess deaths since COVID vaccines, I still don't think it's him. And the reason why is because reports have been made to Parliament about the human trafficking and child trafficking across this country, and not fucking one of them has done anything to lobby that. And as far as I'm concerned, anyone who can turn a blind eye to that can jog the fuck on down the road and we'll find someone better at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, like it only seems to be the common people like us on my lives. Like the amount of times I say, "Oh, did you realise that the UK is the second highest country for missing children?" Is it? Is it really? Yeah. Well, yeah, but on Saturday, did you watch this? Did you see the football on Saturday? It's like they just breeze over that. It's like,
Yeah.
and I literally sit there gobsmacked. I've just told you that this country, this Western country, this civilized Western country, has the second highest number of children missing. That our species is the only species that has made a business out of studying its most vulnerable parts of society, i.e., the children and the women. But yeah, you tell them this, and they go, "Oh yeah,
sorry,
yeah," and then go on to EastEnders.
Andy, a small correction there. We are actually number one per capita because the only people that have more children go missing each year than the UK is the United States.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you look at it per capita,
yeah.
United States has 420 million people and we have about 70. So if you crunch the stats down, there's more people go missing in the UK every year per capita than in America. And this is the UK. It's unbelievable.
I think there's around 6 times the population of the UK in America.
Yeah.
And there's only around 3 times the amount of children trafficked from America than there is in the UK.
So
per
technically,
year.
per capita,
and it is a lot. Don't get me wrong; it's like 400,000 children in America in a year, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But we're still over 120,000.
It's the first time in 15 years I am honestly paranoid about my missus travelling to and from work. And she's only 8 miles away, but sometimes she has to get a bus.
Yeah.
And I'd rather pay the £30 for her to get a taxi home than get a bus home, because like you say, like, we're into social media. A lot of people, they don't really dive into it like we do. We go on X, we see what common people are putting up. You know, we see what was going on in Ireland, what's going on in France, Germany, blah blah. A lot of people just, they're blind to it.
Yeah,
But yeah, I do get paranoid for my wife.
yeah.
and my
So many,
children.
so many people have their head in the sand. And paranoia is not an uncommon thing in people that feel the way we feel. Like, so I'm always worried about my little kids. I'm worried about my grown-up kids. And my girlfriend and I, we both work round the corner from home. We both drive, but our children do the normal bit. They ride a scooter to school. They ride a bike to school. You know, they walk to school and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what? Okay, right. I know we live in one of the safest, probably, suburbs in the UK, but at the same time, anything can happen. And we know these hotels are dotted everywhere, and this area is no exception. There's one here. It's being very well hidden from the public, but it's here. Anything could happen at any time. And I'm just always on tenterhooks. Take your phone. Like when the kids are, take your phone. I want to hear from you. Let me know when you're there. This, that, and the other. And they're like, hold on a minute. You ain't my dad. You're only my stepdad. And I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm not trying to control you. I'm trying to take care of you.
This is the thing. It wasn't all that long ago that Nigel was like up late at night because his kids had gone to, what was it, Turkey? I think it was, wasn't it, a Muslim country that you were worried about because you know what that sort of part of the world's like. But
I mean,
it's like that here.
They went to two places that I'd been before, and one of them with them. Turkey I'd been before with somebody else a long time ago, and let's just say the age that my daughter was right now,
right for the picking out there.
I did not feel happy and comfortable that she was going to be well enough protected from some of the shit that goes on in Marmaris. I've seen it. Don't pretend like you ain't been there the rest of the world, yeah? Right?
Yeah. My 21-year-old daughter travels out there
it was
a couple
Paris,
of times a year on her own.
And that's when your kids went as well, Richard, to Paris.
Yeah.
And obviously, when you look at Paris is like literally under siege.
I think the reason you couldn't sleep for about 4 days at that time is because only a few days before, 4 people had been murdered.
You know what I mean?
Right,
and
remember?
my kids are there. And I'm sitting there going, how the fuck? I ain't got a rocket pack. How the fuck can I just get there to my kids? But I can't stop life.
I wasn't as worried.
Do you know
as
what I mean? But the world ain't
my
safe.
ex-wife's
mate.
a badass.
The world ain't safe. And yeah,
it's gotten so bad out there now that French newspapers are reporting to French people that they shouldn't go to Nantes because it's like spot the French person out there. It's so full of migrants that it's not safe to walk the streets at all anymore in Nantes, and that's an entire region. Like, why are we allowing this to happen?
It's bad, and I mean, at the minute you got Le Pen out there, and Le Pen is actually leading in the polls, and they're turning around and saying that if Le Pen gets elected, they will set France on fire. That's the threat. That's coming out of France. Literally, I think yesterday.
So we found ourselves.
That's what's going on in France.
So we found ourselves in a situation across Europe, across the Western world, and a bunch of other countries as well that are included in that aren't obviously under the European description, but still suffering. You know, like Canada and things like that, suffering with the things that we're all being put under. Our human rights themselves are literally under attack, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, and what's more is if you speak about it, you'll be absolutely fucking hammered. You'll be hammered by bots online. You'll be hammered by people in your face because there's so many woke liberal lefties that just want to get involved into every argument. You're guaranteed to say one thing about immigration, you'll have a fucking liberal lefty within earshot, guaranteed within seconds. They'll be in your face like Karen on fucking Incredible Hulk juice. You know, it's getting ridiculous, and you can't even speak up about genuine concerns and worries. I mean, like you just mentioned there, Nigel, France has been really suffering. I had someone comment on one of my posts the other night saying, "Oh yeah, the UK doesn't even have it that bad. France have let in 6 million in the same time period," and I was like, "Yeah, and look how well that's fucking working out for France." Do you know what I mean?
And Germany,
They've fallen. But most of
Well,
Europe now is
they go
falling.
straight up through France and they go straight to Germany, right? They've already taken over Amsterdam. They've already taken over the Netherlands. For want of a better word, you know.
I have
Indigenous.
spoken to people on TikTok, people that I've spoken to in the past, and they've actually left Germany and moved to Russia because it's safer than Germany.
There was that guy, wasn't there, that was on TikTok a couple of weeks ago. That's moved his whole family over there from the UK because he said Putin's a better leader than the shit that we get, and he's not wrong. I don't think he's wrong. You know,
he had a few quid in his bank, to be fair.
It's not just this country, but it's all of the countries in the Western world. If they don't start to grow a backbone and bring in some strong fucking leadership soon, then the world is going to be. It's not going to be the same anymore. It's going to be.
I think that's.
Come and look at what's going on. You can go and nick 200 quid's worth of anything you like in the UK right now, and no one can say or do anything.
This is it.
You can do that.
That ties us perfectly into the next question, which was going to be, with all of this stuff that we're being censored. We've got Sam Melia that's been put in jail for speaking his mind, for making stickers. What a bunch of fucking ridiculous bullshit that was. You've got Julian Assange that spent nearly 6 years in jail for telling the truth. You've got Tommy Robinson, with the Canadian police have ironically found an arrest warrant. I'm not even sure if Tommy's even been to Canada before, but they found something on him. And they've got him fucking stuck in Alberta now over in Canada.
I did think that myself, but I know he's had ties to TR News, isn't he?
And that's before we even get on to our human rights. I mean, the fact that we're being forced, bullied, coerced, pressured into taking an experimental vaccine that turns out, you know, only 4 years later was already dangerous for about 15% of the people that took it and counting, because it is going up. You know, it's the ability to speak freely is highly important. It is really that is so crucial, because without being able to question anything that's wrong in the world, how can you stop it? How can you begin to stop it? You know,
part of what we all do.
Free speech absolutist. A free speech absolutist. Do you know why? Because I would rather hear everything that people don't like about me on a daily basis, so I know where to avoid, where not to go.
I was going to say, we get that every day. Everything that certain groups say they fucking can't stand about us, we hear it. It's in our face every day. Soon as we say anything back, we're far right racists, aren't we?
But at the end of the day, what it is called, what it is, they have the actual free speech absolute at the moment. They have the loudest voice. They can say whatever they like, and we can't. At the end of the day, that entitlement and that right, which is clearly being enabled across all social media platforms, all mainstream media platforms, across the entire planet, within politics and everything else, they are allowed to be free speech absolutists, and we're not. The point of democracy, if you really want to bring it to the world, is every fucker has the right to say what they want to say all over the globe, and you don't deserve to be killed for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've got a question for Andy. Right, so with the way things are going and free speech and human rights under siege and stuff like that, could you discuss the impact of these restrictions on the ground from your rally on June 1st and what you've seen nationwide while you've been doing what you're doing?
But June 1st was most probably the one march that I thought the police stepped away from. They the crowds were too big. Yeah, the numbers were way too big. They had so I got there quite early. So I was there about an hour and a half early before the march was even meant to kind of get together. Yeah. And there weren't many people there. And there was a couple of policemen there. And then slowly but surely, the crowd started thickening up. And you could see the police were visibly worried. They weren't expecting the numbers that turned up. And then by 1 o'clock, by the time we was meant to leave, we were jam-packed, shoulder to shoulder, 20 to 30,000 strong. And from that point, the police just let us march. Now, if I go back to St. George's Day, completely different story.
Yeah, there was only 2,000 or 3,000 there then.
Yeah, and we were hemmed in by the police. We were berated by the police. You just felt uncomfortable, uneasy, like you couldn't express yourself really, even though we did. And then once we did, they changed their tactics, tried blocking us off, splitting up the marches. But yeah, like I say, on the first, the numbers were just way too big, and there was nothing they could do. So
Yeah.
if on the 27th of July, if I
Achieve a
predict it'll
similar
be
thing.
even bigger.
I believe
Especially,
it will be. Yeah.
St.
especially if
George's
they
Day.
keep Tommy
Let him
in.
speak, lads.
If they keep Tommy in, then they're going to make a martyr out of him.
Yeah.
And then I believe that the crowds will get even bigger. So the people that are sat on the fence with Tommy right now, you know, us British love an underdog. We love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're making him the underdog, like Nigel Farage. They're
Yep.
making him the underdog.
Agreed.
On St. George's Day, right? That was the very indication that every Englishman needed, that England had lost London and we were fast losing the country. That was St. George's Day personified.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was there. I mean, I witnessed them biting people, pushing, punching, poking, trying to start fights all day, all fucking day, because they were cocky, because there was enough of them to subdue us.
So
and
on
then
a positive,
all of a sudden, on the 1st of June, like you said, there was just so many people in comparison. It was like light to dark.
So on a positive spin, would you say that from St. George's Day, Andy, up until June 1st, would you say a huge leap of progress had been made? And do you think that
the 27th could be a big deal in the establishment's mind?
That will continue for the next few years.
Yeah, well,
patriotism in our country.
Yeah, I feel like the train has left the station now, and it's only going to get momentum, especially with Tommy coming out actually giving the heads up and the thumbs up to Nigel Farage. These two parties are now going to join together.
I was so happy when I saw that. When I watched that Tommy Robinson video, and we know Tommy Robinson doesn't normally vote in that sort of direction, but he said, you know what, somebody's got to do it. And Nigel Farage is challenging it. And even though Nigel Farage has had negative comments to say about Tommy Robinson in the past, he said, you know what, the guy's doing the job. So it goes to show how thick-skinned Tommy is, and the fact that he's like, you know what, he might not like me. He might think I'm some commoner, which us four who do what we do really are, you know?
Yeah.
And he's like, but you know what? He's promising something, and he's either the biggest bullshitter on the world, or he's actually about to make some history here. I love the fact that Tommy got right behind him and said, you know what? I'd have a go at that. That must have turned the opinion polls tenfold. And the fact that June 1st happened and we got the 27th happening, and I think us people that are considered far right, I think it's getting more proven to the people that we are probably more right than racist, if you know what I mean. So given the fact that you're not going to stop doing what you're doing,
we're just the normal people that wanted to be left alone to live a quiet, peaceful life, which was what we were promised after World War II.
Hold on, I'm not finished asking my question, Nige. So given the fact that there's so much more work to be done, and it seems to be that these like human rights that have been under siege for so long are starting to get a little bit more burden. You know, we're getting less of the burden is on us. We're getting a little bit more freedom. Do you think that is going to boost even more people to get behind what you do, what we do, what millions of us believe in?
Yeah, well, yeah, hopefully. Like I said, I think Tommy and Nigel are the spark. Now it's down to us, the people, to keep this movement going. Now, if we after the election, if people don't really understand what's going to happen, I believe Keir Starmer will get in. He'll run for about 18 months.
Yep.
Then Mr. Sadiq Khan will step in. Keir Starmer will step down. Sadiq Khan will come in. He will try and put ULEZ across the country, and that will be the spark that unites everyone. And
I don't think we have 18 months. I don't think we're gonna have to wait 18 months. It's not.
No, I don't think
you're talking within 12.
I honestly don't think Sadiq Khan even wants to wait that long. I think he's salivating right now at the prospect of Prime Minister before the year's out.
He's like a dog with his lipstick out.
Come Christmas, we'll have new news January, yeah? Come year 2025, we'll have new news in Great Britain. Trust me, come January.
Viewers and listeners, so everybody who's listening at the moment, you've obviously had experiences with being censored. We all have. You know, it's impossible to speak your mind truthfully and honestly these days without being subjected to some sort of censorship. So guys, make sure you put in your comments as well, your experiences with it all and everything as well. But there's probably quite a few people listening or watching that may not have been to any of these rallies. Now, as we've already gone over, St George's Day wasn't great because the numbers weren't there and the police were confident, over cocky, overconfident, if you like, and caused the trouble that BBC were waiting to film. Whereas, you know, on the most recent one, the 1st of June, it wasn't like that. From your sort of experience, what is the atmosphere like on these rallies that would maybe have someone who's on the fence, perhaps, or not sure whether they want to come along and support these sort of things? What's the atmosphere like when you're actually there? What do you experience when you're there?
Well, for me, like the only people that caused any bad feeling was the police. The crowd were amazing, patriotic. I thought they put up with a lot, to tell you the truth. They put up with a lot of intimidation on the day, a lot of name calling, you know, just the way the police made you feel, very intimidated, very on edge. But like I say, even when there were 30,000 of us on the 1st walking, I didn't hear any racist chants. No, in fact, the only chants I really heard was a few Tommy chants, England chants, Royal Britannia was sang a couple of times. But like, you can go on my page, I've got like 45 minutes of the march. You can see every colour, every creed, nation, they were all there, apart from one community in Britain that didn't turn. But that's because they like to keep themselves segment. But I've been begging on my lives for the last couple of months for that community to actually join us. I spent the 1st of June walking around with a Pakistani girl that was watching my lives, and I always say to my people on my lives, get up and go see for yourself. If you've got a camera and you can film a load of far right stuff, then put it on your channel and say, look, this is what goes on. People will believe that over the media. But if I'm putting out the whole march, 45-minute walk, and you're not hearing any chanting or any property being destroyed or any menace like that, but then you're seeing BBC saying, oh, look at the far right, compare the two. Someone that was live there, and then someone who's giving you a 30-second snippet. You know what I mean? It's chalk and cheese. What the media are saying and what's happening at these events is chalk and cheese. The 1st was a great day. Party afterwards, like the stage after the documentary he showed, which I saw full-grown men crying their eyes out when that woman was singing that song for the victims. Full-grown men, 6-foot grown men crying because they felt the pain of these victims. You know, that's all Tommy's ever done. He's just brought out, he's kind of give these girls a voice, man, and you've got to fucking give him a round of applause for it.
And he has had so many victims that he's had ready to go in videos, and they've been threatened because they still haven't escaped the full shit that happened to them. And then what's happened is he's had them so ready to go live and film whatever and then put it out there, and they pulled out at the last minute because of the threats. And they've had threats from all sorts of people, including the authorities, mate.
He's just
the
had
fucking
to have
government.
He's just had to have his family moved again because that Mohammed Hibajib, whatever his name is, sent him a letter basically through the mail saying, look, I know where you live. So then Tommy's just come out and done a video. I said, well, I know where you live, Mohammed. Do you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad that people got to threaten each other and stuff like that as well, you know, rather than stand side by side. But I think that's what it's going to take. I mean, what is it going to take? Is it going to take a terrorist attack? Is it going to take a massive event? Is it going to take Russia to nuke London before people start to stand up and, you know, find some common ground together? But it's probably more. I mean, it's probably more likely to end up in a civil war than it is any kind of, you know, rebellion.
listen, at this time, at this moment in time, I'm sitting here going, right, we got, these are the first two options. We got Putin nuking London. That means I won't know nothing about it and I'm gone. Or civil war, and at least I might be able to go, well, you know what? Get myself together, get with some people I know and see what I can do, because I'm fighting for my country now, and I'm fighting for the safety and lives of the women and children that are in my life. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for that. But for
How
all
much
we
do you
know,
guys know that what's gone on in Ukraine? Because I've been like kind of catching up on it today, and American missiles just hit beach
in
in
Moscow, yeah,
Russia and killed loads of civilians and hurt hundreds.
that was
And basically, this missile was being watched by a drone, and
by
it's
America,
it's a targeted missile, so they have to type in the coordinates of the missile.
and then
It
watch
had
the
to-
cunt go home.
Yeah, and apparently this drone was watching the beach, and then the missile was fired. So they're saying now that they knew there were civilians on that beach.
Yeah.
And it was America.
Yeah, it was America, and so
That was yesterday, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and this is where we're going. Like, the reality is it's quite possible that someone could make that switch flip, and it
Yeah.
could be Putin that gets there first. And me,
Yeah.
I'm hoping that I hope that civil war starts first. Yeah, because that's in our best interest at this moment in time as a country to survive. I'm telling you
Yeah.
that for free. I believe in that.
To kind
Yeah.
of come back to your question though, Jordan, for me, my biggest answer to you, or anyone sitting on the fence, is to turn up and see for yourself. Don't let anyone tell you what's going on. Turn up and see for yourself.
Yeah.
Like if a 5'4" Pakistani girl can turn up with 30,000 bar writers in, then anyone can. That girl showed unbelievable bravery that day to turn up and to see for herself. And she said, it's because I hear you on your lives, Andy, say to us, come and see for yourself. Don't listen to the media. Get up with your ass and come and see for yourself. And she had a brilliant day, man. And she thanked me afterwards. She said, I'll see you at the next one and that. And, the crowds will grow. And that's how it
Yeah.
grows.
I think we found the new news. Do you know what I mean? There should never ever be a main news broadcaster ever again. Never in history. We found the new news.
Reported
the
by the
human
people,
beings.
for the people.
It's the
Hence
people.
We end up with
It's
Tommy
on the spot.
Robinson and
It's live. It's instant.
Julian
This
Assange.
is the reality of what's going on here.
People get fucked.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need no more MSM.
As long as people start, like I've noticed a few GBG lot now, they're starting to do lives with their face up and starting to do videos of their face out. So hopefully the craze is catching on.
I
People
find
will
it
say,
hard to trust people that do shit behind a mask and the fake names and all that shit. I find it hard to trust anyone.
No, this is what I said earlier about the importance of protecting the free speech and stuff like that. It's going to take people that are bigger than us, even, influencers, creators, to come forward and start doing it and putting their head above the parapet. The more people that do it, the more other people are going to step in and do it too,
Absolutely.
they can't arrest everyone.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's it. Right, guys, you want to close out, Richard?
Yeah, so I'd like to thank our special guest, Rbrt Real Talk,
It's been an honour.
for being here today. I think we've covered as much as we can in an hour or so. I mean, we work hard at doing what we do. We always do. It's a tough gig being where we are. We're sort of like always attacked, and we wanted Andy's story today about the personal attacks he suffered since deciding to speak out and give the public a bit more of a voice. And I think it's amazing to have him as a guest on the show, and I love my
Thank you. It's been an honour, man.
It's an eye opener to hear your side of the similar battles that we have. So I love it, mate. Thank you very much for being here.
That's all right. Just guys, like, as long as you stick to the truth, and like for me, it's not for fame, it's not for money. I earn nothing from this, like literally nothing.
Yeah.
And in fact, I tried monetizing my TikTok, and out of 5 lives in a week, I've already lost 3.
Yeah.
So that ain't gonna last for much longer either. So
Yeah, we pay to be here too, mate. We actually pay to be here. So
Yeah.
yeah,
But
so
then you've got to, haven't
it's
you?
not like I'm not searching for any fame. And honestly, if our country could be sorted out tomorrow, I'd delete my channels and go back to being me, you know. But
Joe
Yeah, 100%,
Blogs,
100%.
no one knows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
We'd all like
But
to be
until
there.
that happens, you're not going to shut me up, and I'll talk about anything and anything, and
Yeah.
you can attack me all you want. I'm not going anywhere, man. Because at the end of the day, when I lay on my deathbed, I want to be able to go, yeah, but
I've
this
tried.
country's all right for my kids, and
Yeah,
my kids have seen
Yeah.
that you need to fight sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 We might
100%,
we might
100%.
never end up being professional podcasters, but you
No.
know, we can't take nothing with us when we go anyway, can we? So
Yeah.
Exactly,
doesn't
man.
really matter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think on that note, guys, we're going to end it there. Thanks for listening. I've
Peace
been
out,
Jordan.
guys. Thank you so
Take care,
much.
but